Troops, here we are. It's another Eagle podcast, and I've been joined. We've gone international. He's taken on coronavirus head on. He doesn't care. He's out there. He's the tip of the spear. Russ from Greenberetcoffeeco Coffee. How you doing, Mucker?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me, bro.
Very, very good to have you on. How is the rest of Europe holding up with the corona onslaught?
Yeah, mate, there's bodies dropping everywhere. It's basically, we've just taken over Belgium. We own Belgium now, so it's awesome, mate. You know what, mate? It's just, I don't know if they care as well. Obviously, Italy care as much, but I don't think they care as much over here. It's just, it is what it is. It's the flu. But...
Yeah. In breaking news, the flu.
Yeah.
I once knew a guy who did a PFT in 8 minutes with the flu. So I'm not like, that's how I think about it. To the man,
yeah.
Man, half 9 under 9 minutes. Effort. I think there's a lot of media hysteria going on, and they've got a lot to answer for, because yesterday someone accused me of not taking it very seriously, and I was like, well, dude, I fought the Taliban twice, so maybe I've just got a different outlook on life. You know
yeah, I mean? Man, it's you're absolutely bang on, dude. It's like the media are causing a frenzy with it. You know, the stuff they're coming out with. It's like people, I'm not mega into football, but I've seen that the Premier League have banned the football players from shaking hands before and after a game. And it's like, you're striking fear into like everyday people who are going to be too scared to leave the house. It's like, when you look at the numbers, and like, granted, I'm not a scientist, or I'm not someone who's like mega clued up, so I probably shouldn't be gobbing off too much about it. But
nah, just go for it, man. Gob off.
It's the flu, isn't it? And ultimately, when you look at the people which have died, and it is a tragedy, and it is sad that people have died, they've been elderly people who have got underlying health issues. You know,
it's exactly that. That's what it is. It's a respiratory problem, and you know, if you're elderly with other health conditions, you are in risk, just like the few on pneumonia, or if you're very, very young and you've got an underdeveloped immune system. And yeah, it's been made out to be like, you know, don't shake hands and don't do this and don't do that. It's like, come on, like, you know, let's have a bit of realism about it. I mean, I'm all for it, mate. I'd crack it and I'd still be out there doing my training for me hard.
Yeah.
I just call it
coronavirus completed it.
Yeah, I just call it resilience training.
Yeah, there you go, mate.
I'd have a bit of Davy Goggins on in the background, and I'll be like, yeah, coronavirus day 3, 20k, here we go, straight in.
And 20k, it's a rest day, so yeah, you know, there you go.
Yeah, no, it's mental. Well, I'm glad you've took over Belgium. I hear the chocolate's good. So
yet to be sampled, but yeah, we're working on it.
So obviously, most people probably know you from the mega coffee that you produce. Are you the Pablo Escobar of the coffee world?
I'm not too sure about that, but yeah. So yeah, Green Beret Coffee is kind of is my little baby as such, and what can I say? I like coffee, and it's a great platform to put it out there, and people which drink our coffee genuinely say it's great coffee. Some people even said it's the best coffee they've ever had. So we'll take that.
That's a great accolade. How did you get into coffee? Was it during your time in the Marines when it was just like force fed into you, like, yeah, coffee where every single moment of the day?
Yeah, but well, you know what the core's like. You know, we're dicing off for wets like every half hour. You know, so we don't do any other work.
I heard it. I think it was Big Phil Campion or one of that crew was talking about an operation they were on, and in the middle of a firefight, there was like a bit of a lull in the battle, and one of them said, I looked over and Lado was getting the corned beef hash on.
That must have been desperate times to get corned beef gash on the go. Jesus.
Yeah. Anyone want a tea? He's like, we're in the middle of a firefight. He's like, anyone want a tea? And I was like,
that's it, bro. It's the mentality, innit? Yeah. Absolutely.
Just taking it in his stride. Anyone want a tea? We're in the middle of a firefight here. Yeah, but NATO. And I think
this might be the last best cup of tea you ever have. So yeah, crack on.
just go for it, innit? So how does it work? Obviously, we'll get on to obviously the lifestyle that you've chosen at the moment, but how do you run a business without actually sort of being located?
Being hands-on.
Yeah, being in one sort of area.
Okay, so yeah, so basically we have a team in place, and I'm helped by family members as well. So in terms of running the business, as long as I've got my laptop and an internet connection, I can basically do the marketing for it. I basically run the business itself from wherever I am. Obviously, the hands-on stuff is taken care of by my family and the team in place. So as long as we've got good communication skills going on and everyone knows what their job is as such, then it takes care of itself. And it you know, it's working so far, so we're happy.
I mean, that's a great point that you've made there. The new modern entrepreneur, businessman, businesswoman, what do you realistically need? You need an idea, a mobile phone, maybe it's a laptop, and that's it. You're on. Do you know what I mean? You can get on LinkedIn, you can get on Insta, Facey, and
that's it.
You can launch it. So, how does the sort of, is it sort of, I want to say command and control element come into it? Like, do you test everything? Like, obviously you don't test every single batch that goes out of the office, but sort of when you get the idea for a new roast, how does that form? How do you go forward with that?
Okay, so when you come up with like a new blend as such, it's quite a long process, and it's not, I don't know, like I was really sort of naive before the whole sort of like got into this sort of like world. You know, I thought you just put a few different coffee beans together and you're there. It's a complicated process. So we don't tend to do anything while I'm out the country. So we're out traveling at the moment. So we do have other things which we can work on. Like, I'm very lucky that my wife, she doesn't do it anymore, but she's a trained graphic designer. So when it comes to working on the website, or we're coming up with ideas for t-shirts or for stickers, we can do it in-house. If we can't do something in-house, we tend to go put it out like an external sort of like agency. So there are things we can do while we're away, and then when we get back, so we're going to be back in the UK in April. That's when we'll get a bit more hands-on. For a couple of months while we're back in the UK, we'll start pinging ideas and we'll start doing stuff because we're there in person and we can get this stuff cracked. But yeah, it's managing your sort of like your time in country as such to get stuff done. But yeah, you know what? It's making it work, isn't it? It's finding a way as such. Yeah, and not coming up with excuses.
Yeah, excuses. That's what holds people back. Is that what you're drinking right now, Bosh?
A bit of shameless plug in there. Yeah, yes. I had to get it in. I was going to do it really slow mo, but
yeah, yeah.
No, look at this Essence Balls guy drink that coffee.
Yeah. No, it's good to see, and there seems to be an explosion, doesn't there, of not just veteran-owned coffee tea companies, but like everywhere you go now, Johnny Costa is all over it, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like everywhere you go, and I can't seem to pinpoint the moment where I was like, there was definitely not a Costa, and now everywhere I turn, generic chains.
Yeah.
And I had a guy on the show a few months ago who owns this awesome coffee shop in my local town, and you know I'm in there probably quite a lot, and I'm like, when did it kick in? This like everyone drinks coffee now, and everyone's like, oh,
yeah,
a latte, and let's all go for a latte, and it's like it's almost like this new boom, isn't it? I know it's been around a long time.
Yeah, it's like Starbucks and Costa made coffee fashionable. It's like instead of going down the pub for a pint, people were like, I'm going to go down the coffee shop, whichever one you're choosing, and they you know, and they take, especially you know, in today's modern world where it's got free Wi-Fi. So you see people. I know the old joke is like novelists go down there and spend 17 hours a day in a coffee shop while sipping on one coffee using the free Wi-Fi and that. But you know, it's kind of like it's just the fashionable thing to be doing now, whether you're young, middle-aged, or old. And maybe it's, I don't know whether it's, you know, if you look at the comparison to like energy drinks as well with Monster and Red Bull, people are kind of searching for maybe that little bit of buzz. And when you're drinking strong coffee, you are kind of getting that energy buzz, and people want to feel good. Maybe I'm just reading a bit too much into it, but yeah.
No, I think you're right, and it reminds me of a thing I did a few weeks ago. I always meet people, and I sort of got a meeting and it got pushed back, and by the time the woman got to me, I'd had about 7 or 8 and she walked in, I was like, right, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. I've got an awesome idea for you, let's go.
Yeah, everything, the whole range just opened up, and she was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, wow, you're really passionate. I'm like, nah, I'm just off my face and coffee.
I'm just really, really caffeinated right now.
She's like, do you want another drink? I was like, yeah, just water, because I'm off my box. Like, oh, yeah,
Awesome.
He's gone all in on this. So how much sort of, where did the idea come from for Green Beret Coffee? And how much more work has it been than you thought? Did you think, yeah, I'll do this, then the car will phone me up and they'll go, right, Russ, we'll have them fucking million bags, mucker, squared away, job done.
Yeah, still waiting for that phone call. So basically, it was, the idea came to us about 4 years ago. Me and my wife were sat chatting, and I was still working in the security industry at the time.
Yeah.
So we never moved on it. Yeah, we were kind of like, oh, it's a good idea, but you know, I was so busy working in the security, and Gibbo was doing her thing, that we never moved on it. And then it was actually, as the old saying goes, there's no security in security.
Yeah.
So I got a fastball, as in like, oh, basically you're due back at work tomorrow, but the contract's winding down. We don't need you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's awesome. So I had to start the process of looking for a new gig. And I thought, you know what, I've got a bit of time on my hands here. Why don't we just start making a few phone calls? Why don't we just start doing a bit more research on the internet and that, and see what's actually involved? And then before you knew it, we were kind of like, wow, we're rolling with this. And then yeah, that was it. It went from there. And I still went out, and I got onto a new contract, because I wasn't going to put my whole sort of like future on this business, which was still like hadn't even launched yet as such. Yeah. And then we just ran it from there, and we started building, and yeah, it's yeah.
And there's a definite explosion within the veteran-owned community of sort of beverage, tea, coffee companies. Obviously, Tactical Tea, Alex Miller. That's a big entity. And Contact, is it Contact? I know there's quite a few. I think maybe it's Contact Coffee. I see them quite a lot. They're really visible. I think those two lads are Royal Marines, aren't they?
They're ex-bootnecks, or they might still be bootnecks. Yeah. So basically, there's a lot of companies out there now, and I think Contact Coffee were very. You can call it lucky, or you can say they've seen a gap in the market. They were the purple cow in the UK for military coffee as such. So over in the States, you had Black Rifle, and I think the two lads went, there's a market here, and they jumped all over it. And it's fair to say they are in the UK, they're the market leaders as such.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. And we talked about it before coming on air. Someone who we both listen to, Gary V, says you either got to be first or you got to be the best. Do you know what I mean?
That's it, man.
And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you don't listen to Gary V, then you know the man just drops knowledge bombs every 2 minutes. So yeah, it blows my mind. If I meet someone like I've gone to meet social media people, marketing companies, etc., and I'm like, yeah, I was listening to this guy Gary V, and I remember it clearly. This one guy was like, who's Gary V? And I almost just fucking got up and went, see you later, mate. I'm like, you're in marketing and you don't know who Gary V is. And I was like, wow, you know, and I get it. Maybe he's not for everyone's taste, but everything he says, you can relate to any business. It doesn't matter what the business is. It's relatable. And one thing I see about like, your brand is sort of very, very personal. Do you know what I mean? Like I spoke to you on Instagram first, and you got back to me straight away. Like you don't believe your own hype, and I think that's where a lot of people they fall down. They think, oh, I've got 8,000 followers on Instagram. Let me tell you what that means. It means fucking nothing. There you go, right there and then. Yeah, you know what? It's something which as over the years I've learned about myself, and I've had other people say to me, is it's all about building communities, and I take great pride in that. So yeah, you know, you can turn around and you can say like Green Beret Coffee Company. If you want to do the numbers on Instagram, on Facebook, yeah, we're not the biggest. We haven't got like 40,000 followers, but one thing which I am trying to do, and I'm, you know, is get back to people, is form relationships with people. These are people I've never, like me and you, have never met in person.
Yeah, no.
And due to the power of social media, we've met each other. We're now doing a podcast. You know, when I'm back in UK, I've already said to you, let's hook up, because we're both training for these ultras.
Yeah.
Let's get you know, build relationships, and that's something from Green Beret Coffee Company and as you know, the Nomadic Veteran, which I'm keen on doing, is forming communities. And that without going off on a tangent, that's why CrossFit's done so well.
Yeah,
it's because it's not just going to a gym. It's people have formed these communities and like, yeah, what are we doing today? And they're there for each other. And I think that's what people are lacking in today's world, is they want to be part of something. And I think social media can be a really good platform for that. And if it's coffee, which brings us together and we have a bit of a chit chat, awesome.
No, you've touched on a few great points there. You've got to build a community, and you've got to make people feel like they belong to the community. Do you know what I mean? And predominantly that's what it's all about. And somewhere along the line, I think we've lost a little bit of focus, because like following on Instagram and likes and all that, honestly, I think it's proper Chad. I do. I think it's really, really like this whole like follow, unfollow game. It just blows my mind. I just think like, what does that, if your strategy is follow, unfollow, you have no strategy, because predominantly I've used micro influencers before to see just what they have an effect on. And to be honest with you, I've never really truly been blown away. Do you know what I mean? I've never gotten, wow. You know, because I'm associated to them, I've gained an extra, you know, couple of hundred followers. It's never really happened. So I sometimes wonder, do people overvalue themselves? Have you ever gone down that route of sort of thinking, oh, I'm going to get like Duty Blonde to like drink a coffee, do you know what I mean? And see how it goes from there.
Oh, no, you know what? Honestly, we haven't gone down that route. It's a difficult one, because, you know, when you do look at certain brands and they've got certain people holding certain products, it will do well. I guess it all comes down to what your mission statement is. For me, you know, I like connecting with people. I love chatting to people. I love getting to know people. And I'm not trying to make myself out to be a saint here. I'm just, you know, that for us was to provide a service of great tasting coffee and you know, forming a community. And that, well, yeah. So no, that's a long-winded way of answering that. No. Most of the time it'll be me in a photo with my bald head holding a cup of coffee, and it's like, look, this is as real as it gets. Yeah.
Because I've listened to Gary Vee talk about influencers before, micro influencers. I'm always willing to sort of see, do you know what I mean? Like try it and sort of see where it goes. But I truly believe it's the normal people on the ground saying, oh yeah, you know who's awesome, so and so. Like, I think that's what gets people in, more so than people just, you know, randoms just standing there with your t-shirt. I mean, I had someone quote me saying, if you give us a t-shirt, it's 500 quid for a post. I was like,
what?
All right, kids. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, they're established, so obviously it's working. Obviously there is companies prepared to you know, pay that sort of money to do that. I'm just not sure it's the right mold for everyone, but it's, I suppose,
is that not maybe a short term, is that not like a short term fix instead of you know, playing the long game as such? Yes, in the immediate aftermath, your followers, your likes will burst up, but long term, will those same people still be following you a year down the line, 2 years down the line, or whatnot?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, mate. I always ask people what the best Yorkshire Three Peaks time is, and they're like, well, why does that matter? I'm like, well, because it matters. I mean,
yeah.
And again, you don't need a lot of people following you. You just need the right people. Do you know what I mean? You just need that.
Absolutely.
You just need that core audience and people with the same core values of you, to go out there and to try, and eventually, you know, it does shine through. I want to sort of talk to you about LinkedIn, because I find that a really interesting platform, and I feel like there's loads of people who don't really get it, and realistically they spend too much time on Facey and Insta and completely rev off LinkedIn. But I switched tactics on Gary V, as sort of, you know, advice on his podcasts. You know, I'm really making good moves on LinkedIn. Is that something you've looked into, or?
You know what? I'm going to be one of those people which says I haven't. It's not because I haven't heard great things about it. It's just like when I first come across LinkedIn a few years ago, before even the coffee business and that, it was like a business directory as such. And now whenever I've logged on, or I get friend requests as such, it just seems to turning into like the next Facebook. You can post stories and that, and you know, and if it works for you. But yeah, to be honest, I don't really touch LinkedIn. And I wouldn't even know where to begin with it, to be honest. Yes, I've got a profile on that, but yeah, I'd be better off speaking to someone like you, and you could be like, Russ, you need to get on this, and you need to start doing ABC, because then I'd be like, oh, cheers, dude.
And I will, and I'll say this, Russ. There's other sort of beverage companies and food companies, you know, doing big things on LinkedIn.
Is there?
And all you have to do is you just have to work out: am I going straight up the hill to assault the bunker? Or am I going to come around the left flank? Do you know what I mean? Like, you just got to create your own way of doing it to take the objective. And everyone's super keen to connect. Like, the guy who started Grenade Bars is on there, and he's proper. I mean, he's, you know, talk about team winning. But I've had a conversation with him before via sort of LinkedIn Messenger, and that's like the guy who started Grenade. I mean, he's there. He, you know, he's bossing it. But I think it's a great platform. Another one which I sort of, I wish I never went so hard on it straight away, because I feel a bit of a tit now. But I got on TikTok really early, right?
I know what TikTok is, and
I really, really loved it. And then it just turned into the Wild West. And I was like, some of the videos are absolutely bonkers on there. And there's no, because the platform is so keen for to grow, it's just seems to be like you can have so much. I put a bit of a 9-second video on there of me just basically telling people how it was going to be, and ended up getting like 37,000 views, and I was like,
really?
I was like, what, 9 seconds of me telling people to wind the necks in, and it's got like, the reach was unbelievable. But some of the things so far, I mean, I keep getting people asking to see me feet. Will I send them pictures? And I'm like, nah, sorry.
Mate, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's a weird platform. It'll work itself out, and it'll get a bit more sort of control. But at the moment, mate, it's like the OK Corral down there, mate. You need
chaos.
It's like, it reminds me of like, and I don't know what it was like in the Marines, but whenever we used to finish an exercise, we always used to have like a smoker, like a barbecue and a piss up at the end of it. And then, then everyone used to try and chin the CO. That's what it's
fair one.
That's what it's like. It's madness. And I'm just like, I'm just going to stay off that for a bit and just concentrate on the old LinkedIn. Now, it's you and your wife have made an interesting choice to just go for it. And it interests me because we talked before the show about having the courage to do what you truly want. So tell the world.
All right. So it started a couple of years ago. I'll try to keep it as short and condensed as possible. So a couple of years ago, me and my wife, we've always been looking at different sort of like, do we want to emigrate to a different country, a different way of life? And I was on leave from a contract at the time. My missus said, look, you need to watch this documentary on Netflix called Minimalism. And I did the old like, all right, I'll watch it. I wasn't really interested, and we put it on. And I tell you what, I had that light bulb moment where I was like, this, whatever they're saying is just speaking so much sense to me about how we've turned into consumerism, consumers, and we're just constantly looking for that next big fix, whether it's the latest iPhone, the newer, a bigger car, faster car, a bigger house, which you don't need a bigger, etc., etc. So we started looking into different ways of life, and the missus sent me a link to a van lifer, basically someone who travels, but potentially travels the world, not all the time. Someone who just basically lives in a van, lives a nomadic lifestyle. And that led us down a rabbit hole of eventually selling our home August last year, 95% of all of our belongings. And we moved into a van. So You could call us pikeys now, essentially. And then and we travel the world. So at the moment we're over in mainland Europe, and it's about seeing the world, obviously, because that's what we're doing, but it's also about a different way of life, and knowing that you don't have to get into that cycle of get a job, get a mortgage, work in a job which you potentially don't really like, and you don't like the people you work with, to pay a mortgage in a house which you don't get to live in very often. It's all about having an Audi instead of it's essentially the same car as a Renault maybe, but it's got a different badge on it. It's just we're out of that cycle, and we're living life on our terms now, and we love it, to be honest.
There's a lot to be said about that, because I know loads of people who are dead unhappy, and the thing is, people think by buying more stuff that'll make them more happy, and it's just not the case. Do you know what I mean? Because the root of the problem is stuff doesn't make people happy. It's the life that you choose and the people who you choose to work with, because I really dislike this whole I'll do it next time, but next time is not guaranteed. Like, what's wrong with today? What's wrong with now? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
why aren't you having a crack now? And you've talked about we'll go on to this actually. You've talked about your ultras, and I'm doing something very similar. And I always say to people, every year you should set yourself something that terrifies you, either physically, business, whatever it is. It's something that's a date that's in the diary that's closing every single second of every single hour. And if you do not train or you do not work hard, and you get to that date and there's an answer, and it's called fail. And it's okay to fail as long as you've given 1,000%. Do you know what I mean? But there's so many people who just phone it in, and they fail before they even leave the car park. I say to people, hardest part of any day is turning up in the car park. After that, it's left foot, right foot, and until it's over. So
yeah, I think you bang on. I think I genuinely feel like the issue is people don't want to be, because of the fear of failing is so high, especially in today's world where you have social media and every single person's fail is probably caught on camera for the whole world to see and get mocked about. People don't want to risk anything anymore, so they live it safe, whether that be in terms of they're doing a job they don't like instead of actually chasing their dream. Maybe they want to be a vet, but you know what, it's too expensive, or they're finding an excuse not to follow their passion as such. They're just working in a job which they genuinely hate, or whether it's be something physical where they're like, I could never do that. It's like, hang on, you've got the same body as anyone else. Yeah, it might be certain physical attributes which you're more accustomed to. So maybe running 100 miles, you might find it harder. Yeah. But that's not to say you can't still do it, dude. You might not be the very best in the world at it, granted, but it's not about being the best. It's about taking part and proving something to yourself and pushing yourself out of that comfort zone as such, and finding out who you really are. That's the way I look at it.
No, that's a great point, and you sort of touched on social media. Like, no one ever puts their failures on social media.
No.
There's no one ever duty story on them on. There's an Insta like, oh, I've got £3 in the bank. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hashtag
me and the missus had a massive argument last night. Our relationship's going down the pan. It's like no one puts that on there. It's always like, oh, we've got the perfect life. We've got the perfect children who are getting A's in school. It's like, your kids are probably little gits, and they're probably like causing chaos at home and shit, but yeah. Yeah,
it's a funny one, because I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But there's a lot of people out there. I mean, if you look at someone's Instagram account or whatever, and they think, oh my God, like, to look at mine, say, does he even have a house, this guy? Is he just out
there? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I still have to do the big shop, all of that normal mundane. I still have to go down Asda and fight through duty milk war and all that sort of carry on. But I choose, when it's my time, I choose not to sit in my underpants and eat Cheetos and feel sorry for myself and say, I'm going to start next week. Like, and we all have that moment, you know what I mean? Like, people say to me, where do you find the time to go out all the time? I'm like, where do you find the time to go and get lashed, spend £200, do a bit of sniff in the toilet, and then write all day Sunday off? I was like, there's always money for destruction, but there's never money for development. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know loads of people say to me, "Oh, I'd love to come out with you, but some of your stuff's a bit pricey." I'm like, "How much you spend on the lash last weekend?" "Oh yeah, but it's different." Different how? Because
how is it?
It's not different. The mindset is different. Like now, I wouldn't spend. You know, I haven't drank personally. I don't drink anymore. And the thought of lashing money on beer now, I just feel like, oh, I could have had a set of new scarves there. I could have had a new.
You're literally pissing it away.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like we like to eat really healthy, like me and my wife, and people always turn around and go, "Oh, eating healthy is so expensive." It's like, one, it's not that expensive, and two, hang on, have you got an iPad, an iPhone, all these like gadgets which cost now for like an iPhone, it's like £1,000 or something, is it, for a decent one?
Yeah.
But you've got the money to spend on that and to go out in the lash and that, but to buy fruit and veg is what, a little bit out the budget, is it?
Yeah.
You know, so
no, you again, it's a great point, and it's that thing of we've been conned. Do you know what I mean? We're having our pants pulled down and our bellies tickled by these.
Bang on, bro.
To say, you know, I've just gone out of contract with my phone, and now my phone bill is like £3.50 a month, and EE are like, I'm sure there's a bloke now in my tree line, like he's looking in. Do you know what I mean? Send him an email now. He's in the garden.
Yeah, he needs it. He needs the minutes.
Yeah, he needs an S10, and I get phone calls all the time. You're out of contract? Yeah, no, I'm loving it. I'm on £3.50 a month. Yeah, but if we get you a new S10, I'm like, how much? It'd be £65 a month. I'm like, nah, I'm just not interested in it, dude. I'm like, what's so good about it? The camera. I was like, what's it man half time? Like,
yeah. Mate, I had to ring up EE the other day. We've had a few issues because me and my wife are both on EE. Not EE, sorry, that's a complete lie. We're on 3.
Well, they own them, don't they?
We're on 3. Sorry?
I think they own them, don't they?
Oh, do they? Oh, I didn't know that.
Probably.
They're all, yeah. So I had to ring him up, and I was having to make a smally complaint about a couple of things. So bear in mind, I'm calling them up to complain, and they're like, right, yeah, okay, understand that. Would you be interested in getting an upgrade? And I'm like, dude, I'm calling you to complain. I'm not trying to get like a new phone or to extend my contract. Like, you obviously don't understand what's going on here. So, yeah man, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's consumerism. You are a part of Veteran on UK, aren't you?
I believe so, yes.
Right.
We started with them a couple of years ago, I think, when they were still very much in the building process.
Well, obviously Scott Johnson, the old chief of it all, I think what we were talking about before, what he's doing there, how he's forefront in this whole veteran community, put stupid regimental, you know, I was in this and I was in that and we were better than you. Like, put all that to one side because it's all finished. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's got its place, but that's all done. And I think this whole sort of veteran-owned community, I'm excited, Russ, because I truly believe in the next sort of 3 or 4 years, they will be the guy. And I think it'll be Nick from Hidden Valley Bushcraft, if I'm honest. I think what he is doing is absolutely 10 out of 10. Like, this is how much he is everywhere. The other night I came home and went in the bread bin, and he was in my fucking bread bin. Like,
wow.
This guy is just everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just on it, and I'm like, that's the examples that you need to be following. Do you know what I mean? And I sort of look at a few of the veteran-owned businesses. I'm like, they are absolutely dialed in and killing it. Do you know what I mean? And it's what you were saying before about community. If you're going to be a solo entity, you can only go so far. And
absolutely,
it's like a big cake. You can't eat it all. It's always better to share because you make more friends. Do you know what I mean? And just going, yeah, I'll just smash every single slice. But you talked about your races and holding yourself to account. What races have you got coming up, and what's that about?
Okay, yeah. So I've got a 32 miler in the Brecon Beacons on the 2nd of May. So that'll be a laugh. And then and then I think it starts on the 12th of June. I've got a 106-mile race through Snowdonia with a 50-hour cutoff. So that one's going to be cheap. I think that's got 10,000 meters of elevation gain in it as well. So that's not one where you can kind of turn up and be like, yeah, I'll just cover this.
Turn up with your silver shadows on. Right, who's first?
yeah, exactly. So it's something you like, as we were talking about before, you've got to train, otherwise you're going to get found out, and you're going to, it's all well and good failing, and if you put the preparation in and you still fail, you know what, at least you're in it. You're in the fight as such. But if you don't give yourself the best possible chance of succeeding, then more for you.
Which one? I love Snowdonia. That's where I passed my ML. It's almost like my second home. What's that race called? It's not a Dragonback, is it?
No, it's called the UTS 100. So I think it's the third year of it. So they do 3 races. They do a UTS 30, UTS 50, and a UTS 100. So obviously I was like, well, if you're going to do something, you go big with it, don't you? Yeah. So
go big. Yeah. Go
yeah.
big.
So that one should be a laugh.
That'd be class. And is it waymarked, or do you have to nav it as well? Just add a bit more spice.
No, it is waymarked, but they do suggest that you know how to nav, because I think a lot of these ultra races, what they're finding is people are actually tampering with like the way markers.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, brilliant. So they're just kind of like they're moving the way markers, and people are getting lost. So they're basically saying you need to check nav the way round, otherwise you can't be. You might end up somewhere, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning on top of. It's not ideal, is it?
Yeah. There's so many people now. Like, I don't know why we don't learn, like we don't teach nav, because the fundamentals of life is knowing where you are at all times. Like, do you know what I mean?
And which way you're going.
And which way you're going. Like, you should always have a clue. And so many people now, and this is a funny story, and I hope the guy listens to it because I still chuckle about it now. I was once in a car park in the Lake District in the Langdales, and he obviously must have set his watch up, his GPS Gucci thing, and his first waymark must have been the entrance to the car park. And when he'd come in the car park, he'd come all the way to the very end. And when he turned his watch on, his watch was like, you need to go to the first waypoint, which was at the bottom of the car park. So he walks past me down, and he's looking at his watch, and I've sort of gone, I think I know what's going on here. So I'm watching with interest. He gets to the bottom, turns around and walks back on himself. And I was like, and he comes past me, and I was like, how's the nav? And he went, it's shit. And I was like, oh, good. Do you know what I mean? I was like, how can you just follow something so religiously and not just
so blindly?
Hang on a minute. I don't want to go down there because I know where that is. I'm going this way. But there's so many people, man. I mean, I love getting out there, Matt and Compass job. I think it's a proper crack. And obviously, you being ex-Royal Marine, you'll be proficient map reader. Obviously, you might have to sort of reteach yourself and have a bit of a.
Yes.
It's like any skill, though, Russ, isn't it? If you don't practice it all the time, it becomes rusty. And we all happens to rust. It fucking falls apart at 3:30.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Exactly. That's exactly it, though, isn't it? It's about not letting the ego get in the way. Going, well, I used to be really good at this 10 years ago. It's like, that probably means you're dog shit now, dude. Yeah. You need to like take your ego out of it and be like, actually, I probably need to spend an hour or two just brushing up on this. Yeah. Because at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I need it most, that's when I need to be on the ball with this,
Yeah, no one wants to hear me story a fucking quarter to 4 about when I was good at it 10 years ago.
Yeah. Nice one, mate. Yeah, where are you now? I don't know, mate.
I ain't got a clue, mate. Somewhere in Wales. All right, sound. Yeah. Let us know how you're going. No, I look forward to seeing them photos, mate. I think that's amazing. Snowdonia is a proper, it's proper country. It feels like the dinosaurs. Like any minute now, you think, T-Rex has come around that.
Yeah.
I need to think.
I
need to think about fight or flight. That's what I think. Russ, we're flying through this, mate. So we'll move straight on to the 5 what's. So
yes.
The first one. What's the greatest advice you've been given apart from don't eat yellow snow?
Damn it, that's what I was going to say. If you said to the missus, like, that's what I'm going to say.
I knew it.
So, you know what? Obviously, you sent me these questions last night, and I had a little think about it. And I you get given so much advice. I couldn't genuinely think of like a single piece of advice which someone said. So, Gibbo said, well, why don't you, something which means a lot to you? And I won't obviously the whole quote, but it's the whole Teddy Roosevelt quote. It's about being in the arena. if you fail, better to fail and be in the arena than it's easy to be the man on the outside, just kind of looking in and mocking and laughing and that. So if anyone's interested in that quote, look it up online. But it's that, I always try and think about that. You know, if I'm worried about failing or putting yourself out there, as I do on social media or on YouTube and that, yeah, you'll have your detractors, but if you're in there and you're chasing your dreams, awesome. It's better than that, than people on the outside who are basically not doing a thing. To put it bluntly.
That's a fair point. And second one, mate, what's on the bucket list, either as a business or as a family unit?
You know what? It's the bucket list. There's loads of little things which I'd love to get done. You know, the whole like swimming with sharks in South Africa, all that stuff. But in overall, I just want to us as a family, you know, me, Gibbo, and our 2 dogs. We just want to keep living life on our terms. The bucket list is as long as we're happy with our days, and in business wise, you know, if we can keep growing Green Beret Coffee Company and keep building a community where we're here to listen to each other, to talk to each other, especially in light of, you know, the whole mental health thing, which has really kind of come in the last few years. You know, if we can help one person or someone enjoys our coffee, then we're winning. #winning.
#winning. #best life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Do you know who Helen Barnett is? I heard her on the Alleycast the other day. She was a police officer, and she was talking about the difference between the military and the police, sort of, and the mental health aspect. For me, I don't know why we're so slow on getting on top of this issue. Like, in breaking news, when something really bad happens to you, you struggle physically and mentally.
I know, yeah.
Just get on with it, fella. All right, then, no problem.
Yeah. That's the attitude, isn't it? Just like, oh, man up, get on with it, and you're like, hang on, we've got to start delving deeper. And luckily now, you know, that's not just for veterans or for serving military guys. You know, there's so many jobs out there now. In everyday life, people are under such stress now. We live in like 2020, and it's like, you know, steal a quote from Gary Vee. It's the best time to be alive, but it's also the worst time to be alive. And I think everyone's under so many stresses now that we've just got to start being a bit nicer to each other, and we've got to start understanding each other instead of being dicks. So, you know. Yeah, no,
that's a great point. This is always a bit of a weird one. What's been your toughest day?
Toughest day, right? So the toughest day, I gave this some thought, and I was kind of struggling, and then I kind of thought of it, and my wife agreed with me that I was just fine going back to work on a rotation, really, really tough. So you're going away for 8 to 12 weeks at a time, sometimes even longer, and to say goodbye to someone, knowing that you're not going to see them again for that amount of time. And that's if, you know, again, like we said before, you're not guaranteed to make it to the next day and whatnot, especially when you work in hostile environments. That I always find those days really, really difficult, where you knew it was coming, and then you had to say goodbye at the, you know, be it cliched at the airport, the train station, or whatnot. It was, I used to find those days horrendous, to be honest. And obviously I'd put a bit of Adele on as well, just to try and emphasize how sad I was. But yeah.
No, and for those people who've never done that, and I don't mean about, like, you know, duty boyfriends going to Magaluf for a weekend, but I'm talking about serious, like, separation, operational tour for me. I always remember my first Herrick tour, sort of going down to see my mum and my family, walking in, everyone was in floods of tears. I was like, see you later.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
Yeah, and it's the countdown as well. It's like, it's not just the day that you go, it's like, oh, it's my last Monday at home, and it's like this big looming day, and it's like you never want it to come. And yeah, it's really hard. And I think anyone who's been in the forces, or anyone who works away offshore, security, whatever they do, they all appreciate that, you know, that final week or that last couple of days before you go. Everyone's on eggshells. You can't really do anything. You can't really plan anything. Yeah, it's a bit of a shit there.
It's hard, man.
Next one, mate. What's been your happiest day?
Again, I give this loads of thought, and I was like, what's been the happiest day? And then obviously, you know, Gibbo was like, when we got married. I was like, yeah, of course, when we got married. No, it's you know what? I've been very lucky in my life that I can't pinpoint one happy day. feel very blessed and I have good days. I've got loads of happy memories. So I think it'd be doing an injustice to pinpoint one. I've just, you know what, I'm a pretty happy dude. So I've had some good days.
Yes. And happiness is almost subjective. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm sure when you passed your Grand Marine, obviously that day was emotional and all that sort of good stuff. Getting married again, it's very hard to sort of go. You know, it was definitely that day. Maybe it's the day you buy the best VW camper ever. Maybe who knows?
Exactly, bro. Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
That's my goal. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just want an awesome VW camper with a big eagle on the side of it.
Yes.
And it's job done.
Living the dream.
Final one, mate. What's next? Either for you as a family unit or as the coffee company.
So the coffee company, we're just going to keep doing our thing. We've got a few new products lined up for the rest of the year. Probably the next 2 or 3 months when I get back to UK and we can kind of give it the final final sort of like thumbs up. As a family unit or as the nomadic veteran, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're seeing the world, we're seeing different cultures. We're back in the UK in April for about 8 weeks. And then from there, we're just still narrowing down where we want to go or what next country. So we're just going to keep, I'm trying not to look too far in the future. We're just kind of, every day at a time and just keep exploring, man.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. So, Russ, I'm going to thank you very much for your time. I know you're out there in Belgium, which you now own. So, all the best.
Hey, yeah.
Good luck with that.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Look, no, it's brilliant. And the people listening at home, you can make changes. We're not stuck in any situation that can be unchanged. Anything can be changed from happiness to jobs to life to all of it. You can truly live the life you want to live if you're prepared to, for one, eat a few shit sandwiches and stop buying into Gucci and Audis and take it from there. Russ, where can people find you on social?
Okay, if you're interested in coffee, which, like we said, most of the people are, Greenberetcoffeeco on Instagram and Facebook. If you're interested in watching myself, my wife, and my 2 dogs kind of get up to some crazy shit in Europe at the moment, and we're just documenting our travels, the ups and downs. Again, life isn't perfect all the time. The Nomadic Veteran on YouTube and Instagram, please. Amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Russ from the Green Beret Coffee Company. I drink it and I'm Ali. So if you're not drinking it, you need to start drinking now. Go and get all the Nescafe and the Kenko, throw it in the bin. It's all gash anyway.
Pour it down the drain.
Get rid of it. Get yourself over to Russ, get it ordered. Support local business, support veterans, and eventually the world will be a better place. Russ, thanks very much for your time.
Awesome, dude.
I'm still working on the next awesome guest, but there's some absolute unbelievable people coming on. It's all about getting that message out there that we can change if we're ready to change. Russ, thanks very much for your time, mate. It's been
cheers, Geezer.
Catch you next one. Cheers, okay, bye.
Laters, dude. Bye.